Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to build a sleeping burrito using some used supplies. First thing is you need about a 10 by 10 piece of plastic. I recommend don't use a tarp because they tend to just be water resistant, not waterproof. And you can get something like this pretty inexpensively at Home Depot or Walmart or something. The point of this is we're going to make something that is both warm and waterproof so that on winter campouts you're able to stay warm because the night is the coldest part of winter camping. So after you lay out your plastic, the next thing is you need a thing like this. Okay, so this is an emergency blanket. I recommend finding a reflective tarp instead. They hold up better, they're heavier duty. The purpose of this is to reflect the heat up and the cold down. So a reflective tarp will work better mainly because it won't tear as easily, and this sometimes when you're moving in your sleep or as you're moving the burrito around before you go to sleep, sometimes it can get bunched up and then this layer doesn't work. So a heavier duty thing is better, but the emergency blanket does work. Then we put this on. Here is where you put a thin foam pad or a piece of cardboard. Either works. The purpose is insulation, not comfort necessarily on this. Comfort will be warmth in the end on winter camping. So you can put a piece of cardboard if you don't have a thin foam pad. That works just about as well. Then you'll put your actual foam pad. It doesn't have to be quite this big. I recommend whatever you've got that's big, use it. But this is a 3-inch foam pad. You can buy something like this at Home Depot. Pretty easy to find as long as you're going to the right places. But this is what's going to protect you from the cold coming up from the ground. You're going to find that most cold that gets you when you're sleeping while you're camping is coming from the ground. So we want a good thick sleeping pad if possible. If you don't have something like this, put a couple of pads maybe. I would discourage air mattresses of any kind because they don't provide the same insulation that a foam pad will. So find at least a decently thick foam pad to put down there so that the cold doesn't get up to you. Next, we're going to put a sleeping bag. Now, the sleeping bag, I'm going to make sure I know which way is the top. So with this, the opening is right here. So I'm going to make sure to make the opening on this side. I'm purposely leaving about 2 feet on top of here over the opening, and that's to help prevent water from getting in. Now, on winter camping, cold is your enemy, so I recommend at least a 0-degree sleeping bag, maybe better, for this one. Then put a 3-season or a summer sleeping bag inside. Not a sleeping bag liner, that's too thin. Put an actual sleeping bag inside. And then make sure both sleeping bags are zipped up. Because there's not going to be anything worse than showing up on the winter camp out, getting in your burrito, and sleeping all night with an unzipped sleeping bag. That won't keep you warm at all. Okay. So, both openings are right there. At this point, you'll want to put your pillow here, and you'll now have your burrito mostly done. You've got your reflective layer, your two paddings beneath to keep you warm, and then your two sleeping bags. If you're worried about it being cold, go ahead and put a sleeping bag liner or a blanket or two inside there as well. That won't hurt. At this point, we're ready to seal it up. You don't need to put anything special on top. The sleeping bags will keep you warm from the air outside. So, now I purposely put all that stuff off center, closer to the edge, so that when I fold all this over, I could just fold it over and the seam would be on the side. Now what you'll want to do is you'll take duct tape, and if the camera will come closer, you'll see right here, I'll just take duct tape and I'll seal along this edge. Then, just because I don't want it to get wet in there, I'll roll it over after sealing it like that and duct tape it again. You don't want water getting inside here. And you'll do that along this side on the bottom and up this side. If you want, you can leave the top 2 feet or so untaped up here. Because what you'll do is you'll want to climb into your sleeping bag, so you'll be able to fold this over. You'll be able to step up on here and take your snow boots off. And then what you'll do is you'll get all your wet clothing off before you're getting in here, because you don't want to bring the water in with you. You'll take your wet clothing off, take off your shoes right here, and your tall snow boots you'll place right here, and they'll hold this plastic up to give you airflow at night so that you breathe. Not technically necessary, you'll get enough air anyway because it's open, but it helps. It also helps people that are a little bit more claustrophobic be confident that they'll be able to breathe. Now, this will keep you nice and warm as long as you followed it as I've described that you should do. But to transport it, what you're going to need to do is make sure to take the open end first and start rolling. This will not roll very small. It's meant to be a big package, so don't expect it to get real tight. Okay. Once you have it rolled up like this, you might be able to get it a little tighter than this. I wasn't trying too hard. But you'll then get a rope or a strap of some kind to tie around it. You can use whatever you want to tie it up. Just make sure it stays rolled up. Having it rolled up like this will make the whole thing waterproof. You can drag this through the snow once it's tied up, and water won't get inside. It's going to be a pretty bulky package, but that's why we'll bring a trailer or a truck up on a camp out. So, have this. This will keep you nice and warm. When you get on the camp out, You'd unroll it. Once you get your sleeping spot ready, to get your sleeping spot ready, you'd want to dig a little bit of a trench in the snow so that you can shelter yourself from the wind. The wind can just blow over the top. If you're down about a foot into the snow, that's not very far, that's just a shallow indent, but it'll help you stay away from the wind. Because if you're just sitting up top where the wind can get you, if the wind gets up in here and starts blowing in your hole here, it'll just strip all the warmth that you have inside there. So you dig a little trench, you put it inside. Be very careful not to be getting lots of water in here. Get inside as I've explained. Bring your clothes for the next day with you so that you can change in your sleeping bag and make them warm. Nothing like getting out of your warm sleeping bag to be cold and then put cold clothes on. That'll just make life miserable. So, that's how your sleeping burrito will work. And if you follow this, winter camping can be fun. You don't have to freeze to death at night. Okay, be safe and follow this. Otherwise, I'll come and get you. Thanks.